A lot of the stuff which I do can be done pretty quickly and easily. A lot of it comes down to just patience.
So this right here is something that you've made yourself.
Yeah. Now, there's a few YouTube channels that I love watching whenever it comes to like learning woodworking. I don't know if I can plug in.
Yeah, throw some shout outs and again, we'll throw some links up as well.
There's one called Woodworking for Mere Mortals, and what's really important about it, he's hilarious. He has a website where it literally says for less than $1,000 you can set up a workshop. The big thing to woodworking is the hurdle of price and the equipment. There's things that you can do things better with, but you can essentially get by with a very short list of tools. For these, you essentially need a jigsaw at the low end, bandsaw at the higher end. With this one, you need like a drill or a drill press. But largely, it's essentially just a bandsaw or a jigsaw and a whole bunch of sandpaper.
Okay.
It really is just like you cut this thing out and you sit there for 3 hours sanding it.
Imagine you have to sand pretty carefully for these things.
Again, splinters, very concerning. Okay, so walk us through, maybe for folks who aren't familiar, you're drilling these holes, you're creating this pattern. What are the holes for? What is that accomplishing?
A lot of it is like gonna get into physics between objects right here. Okay. So,
again, liberal arts major, talk for a living. Dumb it down for me.
So I'll start with like wood grain. You can think of it like if you look above like a forest, you have small things sticking up.
Sure.
The idea of sandpaper is you're kind of getting those down to like a fine level. The sandpaper has grit to it. If the grit of your sandpaper cannot reach the grooves of the next level, then you have to go in order to get the really, really fine shine. So you have to go from 80 to 150 to 220 in order to get deep enough to smooth it out.
Okay.
And then so what that does is that the less grit that you have sticking up, the closer which it can get at a very, very, very small level to the point of contact.
To the skin.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically we're taking something that has like all these, under a microscope, nooks and crannies and valleys, and we're just flattening it down to like a true plane.
Yes.
And you're going to fill this one in, I think you said. But sometimes people will drill holes in it and finish it out that way because it'll go faster.
Yeah.
And therefore be more painful.
Yeah.
Go faster, meaning there's less drag and you're able to get more momentum on it.
Yeah.
So for our true spankos, you want something that is flying through the air at a good speed.
Right.
Furthermore, like a lot like the concept of like you can lie down on a bed of nails because there's so many nails. If you decrease the amount of points of contact, that increases the pain sensation.
Interesting.
Right.
So by punching in holes, you also limit the amount that's actually coming in contact, which means that there's a larger amount of force going into a smaller area.
So if we use this one, it would be, and I don't know if y'all can see it, it's pretty large and it's decently wide.
It seems more intimidating on its face than the small white one.
This one would be more ouchy. That's my technical
More
term.
ouchy.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
we left the holes in it in particular, but you have really cool designs. I'm excited to see how you finish that one out. And another answer to a question you asked me earlier is, why am I trying to put myself out of business at Forbidden Fruit? And we actually sell handmade toys in the shop. So we sell a lot of Andy's paddles. We sell my rattan canes. And a lot of our leather gear is handmade locally. We do order from other companies, like you mentioned, Mr. S. So some of these items, unless you want to throw down a couple thousand, like Andy was saying, to make your own paddles, you can just buy a handmade one by a local artist.
Yeah. And we actually took a tour of the store and have some pretty good video of all of Andy's paddles and a number of other great things. So I'd invite anybody who's curious and wants to see a greater selection than what you've got here. Of course, check out forbiddenfruit.com, come into the store, but also go ahead and take a look at the episode that we did with Johnny and the tour that we took. It was a really good time.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, he's a storyteller. I definitely recommend that episode to anybody curious.
And paddles are used primarily for impact. So back, bottom, back of thigh is the safer place to use it. Other people use them in different places with more training. I kind of want to go through a little bit more of the stuff that you can just find around your house.
Yeah.
But when it comes to handmade things, there's beautiful local artists if you don't want to learn yourself, or you can become one of the people we buy from. That would be cool.
I have a question about the hairbrush.
Okay.
Because we were talking a little bit before we went on air, and my family had that exact hairbrush growing up, so I'm getting nostalgia, but also I'm excited to see how you guys are going to use that, so I have all of the questions.
Okay, so this is one of the things, and I actually...
Very curious about your nostalgia. I may have to ask you off air.
This is one of the things that I actually sent my girlfriend to go get one from the dollar store today because I didn't want to use a brush that I've been using on other people. There are some toys I keep as demo toys and some toys that I play with myself or on other people. So I like to talk about how people use brushes penetratively. This one would not be ideal, which is why I brought it today, because it has more texture. It would be much more difficult to clean. You could throw a condom on it, but there's no guarantee that that texture is going to be beneficial to you.
So again, all those nooks and crannies and valleys are where bacteria are living and growing and, causing all kinds of other problems.
And it might not be body safe to insert, so if you do insert something like a brush, make sure it's got a handle to hold on to on this side. So this is kind of flared. So in theory, you could, if it was smoother, put a condom on it. You can throw away the condom
really
later.
just a great tagline. I mean, if you're going to put it inside of you, put a condom on it.
Did y'all watch Portlandia?
Yes.
It's like put a bird on it, but
Oh,
put a
yeah.
condom on it.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I just popped into my head. But also, I really like brushes for sensation play. So you can drag it across someone's skin. You could brush their hair. That can be hot as well. And you can also use it for a spanky if you don't want to throw down for a paddle and you want to see if you like something a little bit more intense than a hand.
Yeah, something to walk into without, necessarily going whole hog with that giant club.
And this was $1. And you can brush hair with it. I would recommend, if you use it as a
Maybe
sex
two.
toy, maybe two. But, if you try, a couple swats and they're like, nope, then just give it to them as a hairbrush. We're good. And then another one is a metal ruler. This is very mean.
I think it's scary.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the size?
Just not to mention the I guess, role play aspect and some of the other components. I mean, there's the practical, literal sense of, this is what can be used for. But yeah, if you want to incorporate some of these things, it does harken back to grade school or, these other scenes or things.
Teacher fantasy.
Yeah.
Right. I'm into it. Totally. And then you can also use something like this for sensation play because if someone's laying down and drag it across their skin, it's cold. You can stick it in a cup of ice, which is also in your freezer already.
Right. Would it make sense if someone was blindfolded and maybe wasn't comfortable with knife play yet to kind of, enter into that area with something less dangerous than?
As long as they know it's not a knife. But I have also told people who are interested in knife play that I was going to do it and used this. So I blindfold them and they think it's a knife, but it's actually not a knife at all because sometimes I want to make sure that the bottom is going to stay still for something like that.
Right. No, that's always good to know ahead of time.
Yeah. And then, do you have anything else to add about impact, Andy?
I mean, you touched on it a little bit. Be aware of what you're using and where you're hitting. Can you hand me the big red one?
Yes.
I haven't. I totally want to keep this one. I don't want to sell it, but
Yeah, it really is a gorgeous piece.
if you put your hand on it, this thing literally feels like an Incan weapon of war. So
I can totally see myself at Thanksgiving serving a cheese board on it,
Right.
So be very careful about where you store these things when relatives come over for the holidays.
But it's if you hit someone in the rib cage with something that weighs that much,
Jesus.
you can do some significant damage.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just if you're hitting something with objects, I always like to tell people with rope and with impact play is we do this to the people that we love because we love them.
Right.
Be aware of how much damage something can cause. A lot of floggers, a lot of people will say hit the upper back or like the shoulders, avoid the kidneys, like
Right.
and things like that. And a lot of that is just knowledge of the body, knowledge of anatomy, and things like that, and just try not to hurt someone or break a rib.
Yeah, and
You want to
just
hurt them, not harm them.
Yeah, and just a good reminder that Forbidden Fruit offers more than the class that y'all are teaching. I mean,
yes.
all kinds of different ways. And whether you're here in Austin, whether you're going to Forbidden Fruit or joining a local kink community and going to munches and these different trainings at play parties, just making sure that you know what you're doing before you stick your neck out there, I guess.
Yeah, do some research. And there are body maps online where it shows parts of the body that are more vulnerable. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But
yeah, people have been hitting each other while fucking each other for a very long time. They've made all the mistakes so that we don't have to. It's the information age. Go out there and get you some.